We have with us Andrew Holland of Avendus Capital Alternate Strategies. Hi Andrew, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us on ET Now. Now Andrew, what according to you is the current positioning of the fund right now? Do you think that liquidity is still abundant?
So it's too difficult to be bearish at the moment in terms of saying that we expect markets to fall. We do expect markets to fall, but the catalyst is the catalyst which we thought might be there seem to be evaporating. Like France now has obviously cooled down since Macron took the lead. But that said, I mean valuations are very high. The VIX is kind of under 10. So there's a lot of complacency around. So we've kept with a kind of a high hedge of about 60% for the fund at the moment, on the basis that there are things out there which could obviously take us towards a risk-off trade. But for the moment, momentum is still favourable.
That's right. And what are some of the global risks and observations which are catching your attention right now?
So I think there's two risks that we see. One is North Korea, where we still think the peninsula there is as Putin said in Japan recently, is on the brink of war. Maybe he's exaggerated a bit to bring our attention to it. But we have presidential elections in South Korea today, and with a new leader coming in South Korea, maybe that's the time that North Korea will use some of their rhetoric, as they always do when they get new presidents coming in, to kind of escalate the kind of war of words, and then we'll have to see what the US says. But I think this is a situation that we have to kind of be concerned about rather than complacent about. I think the other one which is kind of worrying me a little bit more is China. It's been what we've seen there is two things. One is short-term interest rates rising recently, which obviously has an impact on not just the property market but the shadow banking sector there as well, and that's very worrisome. And secondly, if I looked at the imports and exports that came out yesterday, they were half the kind of target levels or estimates that brokers had for imports and exports. So again, I think there's a slowdown happening in China. And maybe that's reflected also in commodity prices. So, perhaps, and I'm saying perhaps, China might have to depreciate its currency again, or do what it did a few years back, which is start dumping goods into Europe and other countries.
Okay, and Andrew, today it was yesterday it was ABB and Godrej consumer results which excited the markets. How are you observing the quality of earnings?
So there's a kind of few underlying themes. I mean, the good companies have continued to be the good companies and delivered what we expected. Obviously IT, and I'm sure it's going to come out with pharma as well, have been poor performers, and I expect that to continue. But looking and hearing some of the commentary, what I'm picking up is that since the demonetization, is that rural India has not really picked up. You saw that from a few of the consumer goods results as well, and commentary about that things are not back to normal. So the rural economy is taking its time to pick up, and that's, by the time it does, we'll get to GST if it is to be implemented in July the 1st, and that again has the potential to disrupt the economy for minimum 3 months, if not 6.